9 out of 10 businesses fail. Why do you think that is? I think that it's because, or I know it's because they're just not able to reframe the eternal challenge that is entrepreneurship. It's not because their ideas sucked. It's not because they didn't have something really special. It's not because they couldn't do it, but because most people, when it gets this hard, they just quit. And what I'm finding more and more, this is going to be a kind of note to myself on how I reframe the challenges and how I am reframing the challenges, and kind of a rant. There's there's this risk that's involved with entrepreneurship. Like if you have a job that you leave to go start a business, like that's a risk. You have clients who are relying on you. You have, maybe family who's relying on you. Maybe you have a team that's relying on you. And if it fails, like all of those people are kind of left to their own devices. And not only that, but it's lonely. You're in it, you're mostly sitting at a computer by yourself all day behind a screen. And I just don't think that that's healthy. So it's like we have to find other ways to connect with people, to be out and about in the world, at least for me. I know that I'm learning more and more about myself and how I function each day. And I feel like entrepreneurship is like that eternal foil or magnifying glass that just brings to the surface everything that was already there. And there's stages, there's phases. Like growth is cyclical. You start when you're at the beginning, you're uninformed. This is the cycle of change. You have uninformed optimism because it's new, it's fun. You're getting that dopamine hit. You're like, this is exciting. I have a mission. And then, you start going through it and you start having uninformed pessimism. You're like, oh my God, this is really fucking hard. And then after that, you go into the valley of despair. And that, my friends, is where most people give up because they just can't reframe the challenges sufficiently to, instead of devalue themselves and degrade themselves and give themselves a hard time for the challenges that they're going through, like taking it personally, they're not able to flip that and see, wow, this is really forcing me to become that best version of myself in a real way. And as you become more and more successful, it's like less and less people can relate to you. And I feel like a lot of us have this, I have to have a struggle story in order to have a success story. Or what will it mean about me if I am not struggling? What is Jackson doing? if I'm not struggling. And then as you get as you rise to the top, there's just less and less people who can relate to that level of success, and you feel bad almost, even like people are like, oh, well, I wish I had those problems. It's like, yeah, I don't think so. And you invest in mentors, you invest in your business, but there's risk involved in all of that. But the biggest risk isn't any investment you make in your business. It's the things that you don't know that you don't know. It's the ignorance tax. Like literally, if you're making $5,000 a month and there's somebody making $50,000 a month and you don't know how to get to that 50, you're basically paying $45,000 a month in ignorance tax and taxes and fees because you don't know the things or have the belief systems in place that 50,000 a month person does. And so the biggest risk is what you don't know. But if you don't know what you don't know, it's just, you have to keep evolving with it. People are going to criticize you either way. They'll criticize you if you're not doing it well, because you should be doing better. Then if you are doing well, then they're going to criticize you. And then if you're really successful, people are going to tear you down because it reminds them of the things that they didn't do well, and you're bringing something up in them that makes them uncomfortable. So it's like, if people are gonna have criticism for you either way, I might as well be doing the thing that actually lights me up. And so one of the things that I do, and I'm doing more and more, is let's think about 90-year-old Amanda, okay? It's like us looking at a kid. You're like, oh, those problems are so petty, but to them, it's not. To them, it's really serious. And the 90-year-old version of me is probably like, oh, Amanda, what are you tripping about? You're so serious. It's not that serious. Why are you taking it so personally? And so I think it's really helpful to connect to and step into that 90-year-old version of you, because when you look back at these years when you're 20, 30, 40, 50, you're going to realize that it all worked out. It always works out in the end. And the only way that you fail is if you quit. But 9 out of 10 people give up because the going just gets too tough and they can't reconcile the feelings and the emotions that not doing well brings up inside, and they're just not able to do it. Did you know that in order to be in the top 1% of podcasters, you only have to make 21 episodes? 21 episodes. Most people never even make their first, let alone their 5th or 10th. Can you stick with something long enough while you suck at it to get to the point where you can be good at it? I feel like entrepreneurship is like this challenge to you are proving to yourself in the universe that you are worthy and deserving of that next level. And until you can become the kind of person who can hold on to that level of success and abundance, you're not going to receive it because you haven't proven that you're a good steward of it yet. But I firmly believe that the world needs more healers and coaches who are amazing at what they do to have that abundant business and to have that wealth, both spiritual and material, because money should be in the hands of good people who are going to do good things with it. The problem I see is most people want to be in the top 1%, but they're not willing to act and show up and have the belief systems that the 1% does. We live in a time where, especially if you're in the online education space, the information space, like there's literally unlimited upside. You can make six, seven figures a year easy with very little overhead because you could do it just with you and your Zoom. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane, but most people aren't going to do that. And so it's never been easier to be one of the 1 in 10 who succeed, because most people give up because people are lazy. They want to be comfortable. They want certainty. And so it's like, if you want to escape the matrix, you got to be willing to install these new belief systems and reframe the things that are happening, to not take it personally and see that this is all a process that's making you better every single day. And you have to ignore most people's opinions. The truth is, most people do not have the level of financial abundance and success and the business success that you want. And so it's not that, but they're still sharing their opinions. And that's great. Everybody has one. But it's like, if that person is not where you want to be, you just respectfully decline. Because if they haven't done the things that it takes to get where you want to go, then they don't know what's required to get you there. And this is something I've really had to learn. I've really had to take this to heart. So if they don't have the results that you want, you just have to filter out their opinions, because those are the opinions that they have that maybe got them to 60K a year. If you don't want to be at 60K a year, then those opinions aren't really relevant to your current life experience. Life is just a series of endless trade-offs. Like, no matter what you do, there's an opportunity cost, because whenever you're doing one thing, you by default can't be doing any of the other things. And everything is a risk. Everything is a risk. The question is, which one's more worthwhile? Are you willing to do the work? When I was going through my experience with addiction and I finally got my shit together after so long, people were like, oh my God, I can't believe you overcame that and you actually changed your life. And I was like, it just got to a point where it was so hard to stay the same. I couldn't bear living that lifestyle anymore because it was so risky, and I kept ending up in these really screwed up situations that I didn't want to be in. And at the time I was like, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep finding myself in these situations? Like, why can't I just get away with it? And the answer is, I couldn't, because that wasn't supposed to be my life, but I had to be the one to make the decision to change, and no one else could make it for me. And it had to get so bad that I was actually willing to change, because change is not easy. Change is hard, but it was easier than the alternative of staying the same. And so if you're going through hell, like, you just keep going. Every entrepreneur I know and the coaches that I look up to all have this story of like they've gone through this valley of despair and there was just something inside of them that just kept them going. Because if you say that this mission matters more to you than anything else, but you're not willing to put in the work and go through the turmoil that's required to turn you into the version of you that can handle that level of success to bring that mission out in the world, then you just don't deserve it. And you best believe that if you don't do it, somebody else will. Ideas are useless. It's the aligned actions that make them worthwhile. I have meet so many people who are like, oh, I've always had this idea, but I can't share it here because I'm afraid somebody's going to steal it. It's like, that idea was never actually yours. Like, this is what I believe, is that it was given to you as a steward to bring it forth into this experience. But if you're not able and willing to take action on it when you receive it, it's going to be given to. And so I've just had to realize, like, if I'm not willing to just fall in love with the challenges and fall in love with the, like, what's required to get me there, I'm never going to get through. It's like everything you want is this castle, right? And the castle is right there. And all of the things we just talked about are this moat that surrounds the castle. It's got like alligators in it and nasty, dirty water. And most people will not go through the moat to get to the castle. But do you deserve the castle if you won't go through the moat? Because like business literally has the biggest upside of anything you can do. But the mechanism through which that upside happens just happens to be very challenging and difficult and has its own challenges. But is it easier for me to put in the work now to get where I want to go, or to just continue living in the matrix, knowing what else is out there for me, knowing what I want to do, the impact that I want to have? And so I would, encourage you to ask yourself that same question. Like, instead of looking at the challenges and degrading yourself for not being there sooner, how can we reframe the challenges as like, this is fucking amazing and I am becoming better and better every single day. And the truth is, there's just so many people that value their comfort over their mission. How important is that mission to you? Like, every single hero you see, like Nelson Mandela, like the coaches I was talking about earlier, they had to go through hell and back and get totally smashed by life in order to get to that other side. Why should you be any different? So if you can say yes to life and the challenges that come along with business and entrepreneurship, you can get through these challenges and these setbacks, and just understanding that that's what separates the 9 out of 10 who quit. Like, the 9 out of 10 who quit have been here and decided either to go do something entirely different and pivot, which then you lose all momentum, or they just give up. It has nothing to do with you as a human, as a person, but like, this is what's required to bring that mission forth. And I think most people, most business owners, most entrepreneurs just grossly underestimate what's required to bring this thing forward in terms of traffic, lead generation, marketing, how many people know about your business. And that doesn't mean that you're not a good person. It just means like you're not at that point yet where this thing can really take off. So that's my rant. I love you so much. I just really felt called to share this with you today and let you know that if that's what you're going through, you are not alone, and that is completely normal. It's completely normal. It would be weird if you hadn't experienced any of this. So does this resonate with you? Drop any insights you had below, and I will see you next time. Mwah.